What's up, everybody? This is Joseph R. Wheeler III, your host for The Business, where we do this segment on behalf of the ONYXCON Foundation to educate folks who want to break into the Hollywood of the South, Atlanta, or any part of the film industry, but especially coming from the knowledge we have of days in and days out on many a TV set, many a film set. So, today's topic, this one's gonna be deep, y'all. This one's gonna be really heavy. And my disclaimer from the start is that any of the views, opinions, perspectives that I will be expressing from my experiences or my personal perspective on various topics related to the main topic today do not in any way necessarily reflect the opinions, views, perspectives in any way of the entire organization of ONYXCON as a nonprofit, that of any of our affiliates, friends of, etc. These are all just my perspective, all my opinions. And as a host of this show, I'm only sharing this for edutainment purposes. Education meets entertainment. Okay, so today's topic is going to be, if you're not familiar with what the Me Too movement is, do some basic research before you even watch this video so you know where I'm coming from. But to give a quick description for just layman understanding, the Me Too movement began as a way of actors, other people within the industry coming out to be able to blow the whistle on people who have in one way or another crossed the line of what has been considered sexual harassment, whether on-set, off-set, you know, in personal life, in business life, but affecting that person's career and ability to move forward. People being blocked because they were not willing to participate in certain acts. People being harassed because certain powerful people wanted them to participate in certain acts and they refused to, etc., etc., etc. And it also goes in tandem with what has been called cancel culture, where, you know, people cancel folks out, shows cancel people, cut their, you know, a person who's a legendary star on something gets cut off from the rest of Hollywood. They can't get any work anymore. Endorsements end up dying. Companies don't want to work with you for their products anymore, etc., etc. So it's serious indictments. It's not something to be playing around with. So to be completely clear from a personal perspective, I personally, and knock on wood and everything else, hopefully never have to deal with any parts of this situation. Never been, well, that's what I'm gonna get into. I have been approached in certain ways, but it was never to the level that I felt like I needed to take it all the way to a top, report something, or, you know, I dealt with it on a direct level. You know, somebody came at me the wrong way, I checked them on the spot. You know, let them know I ain't the one. And if they had, you know, pushed further, I was gonna handle that my way. But anyway, that's all I want to make clear before I even begin. So, I guess now you're like, well, wait, what happened? What happened? Well, I'm not going to get too deep into anything, but I will use this as an example of, this is on a minor level, and imagine this being on a major level. So, I can remember being on a set one time, and it's early in the morning, getting dressed, and this is extra work, this is background work, background artist work, and other background are there, and we're all getting dressed for the scene. And so after coming out of, you know, I'm in full clothing and everything, coming out the dressing room, and my position was an officer of law, so to speak. Okay, so I'm in full uniform, I've got my fake badge, fake gun, all that stuff on, you know what I mean, the cuffs, the whole nine. And someone else of male perspective was standing there and observing me when I came out, as I'm just waiting on one of the wardrobe specialists to give me my approval. Like, yeah, you look great, no worries, go on and wait and hold and you're good. Because they had to clear you. You know, you had to go through wardrobe, you had to go through makeup. Once you get a clearance, you're good to go to set. So, The guy said, you know, it's like, it's a lot of snarky conversation on sets. It's a lot of people making jokes that aren't funny all the time. You know, humor is very eye of the beholder. Everything ain't funny to everybody, and everybody don't get where you're coming from, which is why you gotta be real careful of who you say a certain thing to, thinking you're being funny, who you're not gonna want to talk to, who doesn't want to talk to you. You just gotta be careful of all that, right? So you could say he thought he was being funny, but the way he said it had a nuance to it that sounded flirty. Like, you know, he's a guy who likes guys. I am not. I am a guy who loves women, period, point blank, to the end of infinity and beyond, right? So he kind of came at me all real sideways. He's like, you know, oh yeah, you look convincing to me. You know, you look like an officer to me. I'm like, yeah, appreciate you, man. You know, I'm just, thank you. Like, you know, mind my business, still waiting on the approval. And he's like, yeah, maybe after we wrap, you know, you can cuff me. If my head could go around like an owl, you know what I mean? I'm like, did he just say what I think he just said to me? And, you know, and he's kind of waiting on reaction. He didn't even kind of like let it drift. He just kind of looking like, yeah, what you gonna say to that? And I don't even recall exactly what I said, but I know it was something to the effect of, dude, I ain't that one. And I think he understood it immediately because my eyes was doing the rest of the talking. So that part, right? So that could be a small example on a lesser paid part of the whole process, because background gets the low pay, background doesn't have lines, so we're not the stars, etc., blah, blah, blah. You know, that's on the low end of it. So imagine if that person had been somebody of power who still felt that they, I mean, because now they feel like, yeah, I can make that kind of joke, and who's going to say anything about it? You know what I'm saying? What if it had been a producer or someone like that? I can see how things get weird, because I've also witnessed that kind of energy, not toward me, but like, you know, people being out of hand with each other who do have power. And then, you know, I've witnessed other stuff of just directors that it's beyond having a potty mouth. Like, potty mouth is what I call, you know, the person who cusses every night. I can say little stuff here and there, but I'm intelligent enough. I'm not about to cuss every other word. It's for accents, it's for humor, it's for, you know, inflection on certain things that need a little nuance, and I give it that little extra edge or whatever. But I'm not about to be just, you know, this, that, you know, just cutting it up with cussing all the time. Yet there's some directors that sound, as they say, cuss like a sailor. I mean, they stayed out to sea too long, y'all. I mean, they sound out of their mind with it. Like, it even sounds childish most of the time when you hear these people. You can't believe they still exist. Like, dang, this is really still a thing? People that talk like this, like in a professional environment, and think this is okay? You know, so you can see how with all of that kind of bravado, and I'm not saying, you know, I said bravado to, you know, it would insinuate I'm only speaking of men. I've seen women who, you know, I think from the pressure to be on level with those kind of guys, they become that, if it wasn't always who they were, you know what I mean? And they're just, I mean, some of the stuff they'll say too, you're like, oh my gosh, what in the world? Did that woman just say, yep, she sure did, she said it, Did that dude just, yep, that's what he said, that's what he said. You know, and everybody around him is just like cool with this toxic working environment. It's just not a problem. It's just what, it's the way it is, it's the way it goes. And see, that right there is the beginning. Like I always said when this whole Me Too thing started, that's just the beginning of it. It's only going to get more as people get into all these other elements of how to be in the workplace and how to understand, you know, just because we're shooting a movie that might have a lot of rough street talk and all this other stuff, don't mean you can say everything, act like you in the script and you weren't the characters. Like, if that camera ain't rolling, this ain't part of the script, you need to tone that mess down. And then the worst part is half the time it's not even that. It could be a doggone family movie rated G, but you still get some directors and people who act like that. You know, it's insane, y'all. It's crazy, but it's out there. And so when you got that kind of element, you can see how the cases that have evolved and started, you know, popping up when they were really hot in the news, but, you know, I'm saying still stuff going on. You can see how it happens. It's not hard to tell. Like, okay, if you're going to allow this kind of behavior, it's going to produce that kind of stuff. You know, I mean, the sexual harassment is just a sidebar to somebody who would talk like that and act like that, because they think they're just you know, invincible. Like, one thing leads to the next. So that's the first part about, you know, revealing or saying something about, you know, how I can see this being a continuous issue if certain things aren't changed. To continue with other scenarios, folks, the other thing I want to definitely address is your on-set etiquette for a working environment, and understanding that to be an actor, like any job, you know, you have at work protocol and you got off work protocol, because you can work with people and then on the weekend you could be out and about and see some of the people you work with. That happens, right? So to be on the best and most respectful conduct in general, you have to weigh everything. You have to weigh everything. You have to always say to yourself, this is work first, okay? So anybody I meet at work, I gotta remember this is work first. That's just not to say you can't end up with a good friend, significant other, marriage, kids, the whole nine, partner for life. All these things can be possible with anybody you meet on a day-to-day basis. And Lord knows the amount of time you spend on set can lead to a lot of real strong bonds with people on various levels, professionally and otherwise, because it just takes so long. The process is extremely long. You're there for hours, you know, and if you're doing background work, you got a lot of time in holding where you're waiting to go to set, you know, where you're just sitting there, eating snacks, trying to maybe read a book, trying to maybe listen to music or whatever, you know. And I do those things too, but I do enjoy talking to my fellow actors or just people who are doing it for fun and seeing where people's head is at. And then, you know, playing that safely, because they say, you know, you got to keep conversation with, you know, stay off of sports, politics, and religion. And that's kind of hard for most people to do, because the bottom line is those things tend to be the center of a lot of people's lives. So it may come up in conversation, but, you know, again, you got to have candor. You got to know, okay, is this the person I want to talk to about that? If you're cool, if you can tell this it's not going to blow up and turn ugly, sure, go for it, you know? And the same goes for flirtation or interest in somebody romantically. You got to say to yourself, is this the time to shoot my shot? Yeah, it comes down to the big question of, is this shot shooting time? Is this the appropriate environment for me to be shooting the shot right now? Is this the appropriate person to shoot my shot with? Okay, time, place is everything. Because a lot of times, I think this is just true in general. Now, mind you, everything I'm about to say is from the perspective of a heterosexual single man. Okay, so I'm saying, if you're in an industry where it's known for good-looking people, and you pride yourself as one of them, you know, and you're out here amongst all this, just a variety of all kinds of beautiful people in general, but if your focus is on a particular orientation, and you find that on set, and you're like, yeah, I think I dig this lady right here. I think I want to, you know, get to know her a little better offset if possible. Okay, soon as those thoughts enter your head, fellas, this right here, this doesn't just apply to background acting. This should apply to life. Now, everything I'm about to say again is just my perspective on it. You can take it or leave it. But the way I was raised and the way I understand things is, you don't push too hard, but you give just enough to let it be known where you're coming from. Anybody who's a sane, rational, well, level-headed adult can tell when you're attracted to them. You know, it's a vibe in the air, right? You know, and people know when you might be interested in getting to know them beyond just the work spot, right? But in my experience, some ladies know how to let you down without totally turning you off, because they still want to be cool with you. Hell, they might even find you attractive, but that doesn't mean they want to take you home and knock your boots till the break of dawn. If y'all don't know what the phrase means, you got to go back into your 90s library of hip-hop slang, okay? All right, I'm from a different era, and I don't apologize for it. I am me, okay? All I'm saying is, they may not want to have nothing to do with you on that level. To be mature enough to understand, cool. I still want to know you as a human being, because at the end of the day, we all in this business, and you never know who you're going to need as a friend, as a business associate, somebody to vouch for your character later on in life. And if you handle that part right, trust me, it goes a hell of a long way. Because everybody loves, like I say, level-headed, sane people. The only ones I'm really talking about when I really break this down. They're going to be flattered by the fact that you were interested in them. I've met more than enough ladies on set where we had a semi-flirty energy between us from the minute we started talking. It was very playful. It was very, you all right, you know? You all right. I like you, you know what I mean? But I like you. But then there could have been a little something there to let me know she like me, but she don't like me. Okay? It ain't that many likes in the equation. And you're wondering why. And then it comes out. Yeah, they'll be laughing with you and they'll do the little casual drop like, oh boy, you so funny. My husband does the same thing. He's like, respect. Done. Right there. All bets are off. Ain't no shots being shot. Ain't no more. No. No. And me, if you're anything like me, you know, this is just a technique you gotta be able to do naturally. But I'm quick to make a joke about that sometimes. I'll be like, oh, I heard you hit me with the husband thing. I respect that. Because I am thinking to myself, very beautiful lady. I wonder what her situation is. But now that I know, nothing but respect. And ladies appreciate that. They usually gonna laugh and be like, thank you so much. Whew. The awkward moment is the ice is broken. We ain't gotta be weird about it. Yeah, I'm married, whatever. Or they might be like, I got the boyfriend. Whichever the case, you're in a commitment. I respect that. I'm backing it on up. You understand? Now, we all know in these days and times, some of this old school stuff, it seems so old school. And what you talking about, man, that don't matter. Yeah, and that's why stuff is crazy out here. Tell y'all something. I have come across situations too, where folks don't make that very clear. They say they got a boyfriend, and you're like, cool, you start doing the back off, but then they come even closer. And you're like, wait a minute now. And you almost have to tell them, like, wait a minute, hey, you told me you had a boyfriend, so stop being so playful with me. Get on out of here with your little cute, fine, beautiful self. You know? Whoa, you're doing too much. You know, you try for a little separation, and then they end up floating right back to you throughout the day. You know, you try and start mingling with some other folks, and you still find yourself right next to them at times, and they always want to chat it up with you. Now, here's the other thing that can happen in these work environments. The PA's got a hell of a job ahead of them. And depending on the scene, if you're in a scene where they got to pair people together to be couples or to look like just friends in a scene or whatever, they're going to look at the holding area. And this is the good PAs. This is sensible. I understand what they're doing, which is another reason why whoever you find yourself talking to the most during the day, make sure it's somebody you really get along with no matter what level you want to be on with them, because you probably going to be working with them the whole day. All right? So if they see you paired up with this beautiful lady, and it works in your favor too. I mean, this is an industry of looks and good looks, and they're a cute couple and all that energy. So I've always made it a thing that, you know, not only do I want to be around beautiful women, but as soon as I pick out whoever I find personally to be the cutest, sexiest one on set or whatever, who ain't always just the hottest chick or whatever, because them be the craziest ones sometimes, okay? But just, you know, a really beautiful woman, I'm trying to be near you, see what you about, and if I see your energy is cool, and I see we can work together, we gonna end up in some major scene together. We're gonna end up doing something phenomenal. It never fails. I've made more friends that way. I've had more amazing features that way than I can count. It just happens. Because the PAs, the directors, everybody, you know, they're in the PAs' ears. Who's that couple right there? Yeah, okay, put them there. They look good, yeah, and I like what they're wearing. Yeah, put them next to that. Yeah, thank you. And then like, Joseph, you and so-and-so, yeah, come on, we're gonna put you right here. Okay, very good. Y'all gonna just keep talking and having a good time. High energy, thank you. And then you in a moment, you feel? So it works out. But like I say, you want everything to be in your favor. Now, you don't always get that. Sometimes it starts off good. Human beings are very moody, You could be in the beginning of the day, somebody's a morning person, somebody's not a morning person. The lady who wasn't trying to deal with you when you first got there, and you wanted to just kind of see where she was coming from, so you sat down next to her and hold it, and you started a conversation, and she just kind of pushed you off like, oh, no, you trying to talk to me? You know, you said, oh, never mind. Okay, I'm sorry. I was just being friendly, hey, it's gonna be a long day, right? You know, I mean, whatever, you know, whatever your breakers are, breaking the ice, whatever, and she wasn't feeling you, right? Lo and behold, that person ain't a morning person. Later on in the day, whatever they need to feel and move. Now she's so friendly. Same person ends up next to you in the scene. She talking your head off. You can't get her to be quiet, right? It's happened to me. I'm just saying, you can't ever expect too much. You got to go with the flow. But in going with the flow, read the people around you, read the energy. Try your best to just put your best cards down. Like, look at people like, yo, I want to create the best atmosphere. So who would I want on my team? What's going to give me the best hand in this poker game, so to speak, you know? And yeah, it can sometimes work out to the best. Sometimes, no matter what you do, you just end up with some weird energy around you, right? If you see that there's incompatible energy, don't force it. You know, this is beyond just, oh, I want to, you know, being, like I say, remembering it's work first. But then if you got other intentions of, oh, I'd love to meet somebody because I'm single and she was single. And, like I say, put that man second, because it is still work. It's a very loosey-goosey atmosphere, though, that'll have you thinking everything is on the menu. I can get all parts of life here. No. Keep it real light on that other stuff. It ain't to say it won't happen. I want to let you know. Look how many actors and actresses ended up married because they did a movie together. So, yeah, it's something to this. So, you know, even without the fame and the money, doing it on a background level, it still happens. People meet up. People hang out, people date, people do all kind of stuff as a result of when they met on set. It's okay. It's just not okay to push it if it's not headed that way. So make sure you're sure that who you're dealing with wants you the way you want them before you go pushing issues. You know, I've seen it a million times when it's time to rap. Folks come up, you know, and say, hey, you know, we should exchange information. Now, if you've been talking to them all day, they already declared they kind of like you a little bit. Y'all was, you know, chatting it up in the background, and you know, you keeping your distance and everything. Nowadays, you gonna have to, because they're gonna be 6 feet apart generally, right? But she had to scoot her chair over and slap you on your knee. It was so funny while she's still giggling. Well, that may have been a sign of some things. You know? Don't read too much into that either. You know, body language ain't the same for everybody. But I'm just saying, you may have had some energy there. So it might be okay to ask for that number and stuff. And then hell, ladies, you know what you're gonna do. If you ain't feeling them, you're gonna be like, oh, I don't get my number out. You know what I'm saying? No worries. Fellas, don't act no fool about it. Back it on up and exit. Stage left. Stage left. Hell on. Leave it alone. Keep it moving. Trust me. It's not worth no drama at all, right? Because I ain't gonna push up on nobody, but I've seen people who do, and it's just so ridiculous. Like, I've seen some dudes that just don't know how somebody, I'm like, who raised you, man? You ain't obviously ain't no real man to tell you what time it is. You don't be forcing nothing, pushing no issue with no lady. Just bang it on up. She ain't feeling you, whatever. Yeah, but she was cool with me at lunch, and then suddenly she didn't want to talk to me. Well, maybe there's a reason. You probably said something stupid, man. Just get the hell on. Ain't nobody thinking about you. You know, you probably drive like that. Some fool out here acting like he in NASCAR on the 55-mile-an-hour expressway. Anyway, so yeah, you know, you just got to be real, y'all. You got to be real with yourself and real with the situation. Please do. And then, you know, hey, if you do that, I promise you, fellas, it can work out to the best. Like, I've had ladies approach me, like, I'm just rapping, like, yo, I've been talking to somebody all day. It was all good, but that was it. It was work. We made it work. We had fun. I'm going home. Okay. But as soon as I'm in the, you know, in the line for rapping used to be long. Nowadays, you do everything mostly on digital. But sometimes they still got to check you out before you leave or whatever. So I can remember long lines, you know, when there was no digital and you wait and get your paperwork signed by the PA so you can leave. And I get my stuff and I'm heading out the door. And lady got out of line and come over and let me know, hey, you know, we need to exchange information. Like, a ding, 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 yeah, somebody's feeling me. You know, that's that obvious stuff. And for the case of reputable information to say someone did have interest in somebody, hell, you even got witnesses. I mean, you know, all this stuff is working in your favor for any future accusations of, you know, I never liked that guy at all. No, that ain't true, because we saw you get out of line to go over and get his number. You know what I'm saying? Like, some stuff might be working in your favor too. So I'm just saying, it can work out. It can work out. But don't press the issue, yo. To the ladies, because I've been speaking towards the fellas, be sure of yourself and your own actions when you're dealing with anybody on set. The power of a woman is divine, feminine energy. Is so powerful, right? Y'all are the final step in the bringer of life. Y'all are the source of all of us. So I'm saying, yo, y'all just got a lot of power is what I'm getting at. So be careful with who you share that energy with and who you allow in your space. You know, if you sitting there holding and some weird dude come over near you and you ain't feeling him, but your other friends that you do like are right there and they ain't moving, but you feel uncomfortable, you want to move. And don't have no regret about it. Like, I gotta go. I am not about to sit here and deal with this nutball. No, don't deal with that. Don't be around that, you know? Somebody come over and say or do something to you inappropriately, report that stuff, you know? Check them fools. You know, this whole this slang that started generations before a lot of these young folk. I hear young folk using it now. When I say young, I'm saying folk in their 20s and younger. Talking about, you know, don't snitch and ain't no snitches and snitches get stitches and all this old street lingo crap that y'all wasn't even born when this mess was born, okay? The word snitch and the way it's used in the streets started as far back as my parents' era. My dad said the fools was saying this, okay? But it didn't reach its peak in popular culture until my generations, okay? I can remember in high school when this stuff started, but when it did, it was about, not to get too long into this, but it's just relevant to how this affects other stuff that ain't got nothing to do with this. You know, people who were involved in real illicit criminal behavior that are all together we all made a bond, we're gonna do something illegal together, and then if one of us get caught and we tell what happened and who else was involved to the police, okay, that is technically in the streets a snitch. If we are on set, this is a business opportunity, this is a legitimate business on paper, legally taxed, the whole nine. You will do your taxes, you will have a 1099, you will have a report to multiple agencies of your actions of doing work, okay? This ain't no street off the record stuff. You're not part of a crime syndicate to be doing your job as background. Well, that's not to say that illicit behavior doesn't lead to billions of dollars to make these industries possible. But we ain't talking about that part today, all right? We're just talking about you're still part of something that on paper, okay, is a legal enterprise, all right? So if somebody come at you wrong, yeah, we all backgrounds, so I don't want to snitch. There ain't no damn snitching. That's called protecting yourself. Because let me tell you, it is can be a very unsafe environment sometimes on sets, unfortunately, because a lot of the people who run these these situations don't take into account all of what could happen and make provisions to prevent a lot of that very obvious stuff from ever happening. Like, you know, there's sometimes you parking in parking lots, huge big gravel lots in the middle of nowhere, and walking to a shuttle bus to get on, and the shuttle bus takes you to where the actual set will be, and you work, and then you come back, and by the time you get back, you got there in the morning, and you get back at night, and it's 3 o'clock in the morning, and you walk into your car alone. You know what I mean? So these are reasons why, you know, it's nothing wrong with saying, you know, speaking up and saying, you know, somebody was acting real weird and kept coming on to me after I kind of made it clear to him, I don't feel comfortable, I don't like you, get away from me, and fool keep coming at you, tell somebody. Or if you got a good friend that's a real dude that will walk you to your car at the end of the day, you know he ain't about no bull, walk with him to your car. You know what I'm saying? Do all those things. Do it, you know? Do what you gotta do. Survival out here, right? And respect. It must be demanded and protected. Okay. So, and then, you know, just when you do meet people that you do kind of dig on set and everything, be honest. Like, if you know you got a boyfriend and yeah, y'all relationship is on the rocks and y'all ain't doing so well, you're probably gonna end up breaking up, or you and your husband ain't getting along and all that kind of stuff, whatever, deep stuff like that on a whole nother level. Let folks know your situation is that. Don't be hiding the fact you married and got 10 kids, you know? Don't be hiding the fact that, you know, don't say you got a boyfriend and when the person is trying to leave you alone, you still being flirty with them and stuff. It's like, no, you made it very clear you not about that you got that part of life secured. You don't need nobody. So then live the life you chose. Whether your stuff is rocky or not, do it. Do what you got to do for you and yours. And don't go messing up nobody else's life with your messy stuff. You know? I mean, if you got your affairs in order and you're very professional and mature about how you're going to engage, you know, and you can be honest and upfront about the whole thing, Okay, everybody's adults. Maybe they still make a decision to do whatever they're gonna do, but at least you told them up front what your situation was, versus y'all be out here hiding stuff and doing all kind of weird stuff. There's a lot of weird stuff going on out here. Now I'm just saying. So, just don't be that person. And that goes for guys too. But I'm just speaking on how I know from experience sometimes that some ladies just hide their truth. They don't tell their whole situation. And they still engage with fellas in a certain way, like, yeah, you know, come through. Let's get together after we rap or whatever. No, you ain't. No. You know, y'all do what you do. Just be honest with each other about what you're gonna do. You know, so that then y'all are in it together for real. So if anything happened, then yeah, y'all snitched. Well, that's on the outside of this work environment stuff, you feel me? But no, really though, it's just a lot of foul stuff that all could be avoided if people just leave some stuff alone, period, right? Hollyweird, instead of Hollywood, like it can be Hollyweird. You know, there's a lot of Hollyweirdos that birds of a feather flock together, right? And you feel like, man, it's like they got so much power, the ones who are all in it with their little stuff. I don't want to be ousted just because I wasn't willing to do what they do. Get down with what they into or whatever, and I was invited to something that I didn't want to be a part of. No, you ain't got to do none of that. And you got to let it be known you don't want to do none of that. And you got to be on some real man-woman stuff, whatever you are, and just be firm in your conviction of who you are and the fact that no person on this earth is here to determine your destiny. If you are to be an actor, you're going to be an actor. And yes, if it requires even not doing it under the guise of the highest echelons of powerful places, whatever, of a certain industry, and there's other people that I promise you don't want to continue that farce to be the only identity for it. They don't want it to be known as Hollywood. They're cool with treating people with respect and everybody coming to work. Just work, you know what I mean? And yeah, we're all human, and sometimes if somebody says something inappropriate, you apologize, okay? On the spot, in front of everybody, whatever the case may be, you apologize. You get your stuff straight because you know, that was too much. I need to back it up. I don't want no cases, right? That's what you got to do out here. That's what you got to do. That's adult. That's responsible, you know? And that's the only thing that's going to change anything. You got to get back to that. And then people got to know that some stuff ain't just about no court case. Everybody's a human being, and as they say, emotional, it's just like you can be emotional and just in your mood, in your weird mood, and say something strange to somebody. Well, they could be in their mood and just beat the living. You could straight get got. Like, we're all breathing. We're all capable of a lot, y'all. That's all I'm saying. And I'm one who believes in the code of nature. I'm one with nature, y'all. It's the flora and the fauna. We are all animals. We are all instinctual. We all have everything we need to defend ourselves if backed into a situation that requires such. So don't come at nobody any way you don't want to be come at. And also, if because I love the folk who say, well, I was raised by wolves. Well, no, you weren't. Because wolves have an honor code. You weren't raised by wolves. You was raised by some chumps, some bullies. Playing with the wrong ones. Leave it alone. Just leave it alone. Okay? Just leave it alone, y'all. Leave it alone. You know? And so, you know, I'm speaking to I'm not just speaking to folk need to be protected. I'm speaking to the people who might be the perpetrator, the person who does all this stuff, to say, look, it's over. I feel like after COVID, people surviving this pandemic, and there's no after, we're still in it, because it's still going. It's still going. You know, to be on lockdown, to have to stay home and all the different things we all had to do. I can't speak for nobody else, but I know I came to a new enlightenment about the power of my life and what it is to just be alive and what I want out of this. And I don't put that in the hands of nobody no more. I'm gonna go for mine. And if you're meant to be a part of my success, we're gonna be successful. If we're not supposed to be successful together, you ain't supposed to be in my life. So just exit. That's it. It's real simple. You ain't even supposed to be here. So all the static and the issues and all the drama, that stuff is like, it died, y'all. It had already been dead, but it's officially dead. It just will not be tolerated. And I want more and more people to come from that perspective without thinking that, you know, I know what I'm saying to some people only sounds aggressive, like, oh, this guy's just, you he's ready for a fight all the time. No, hell no. I'm a lover, not a fighter, I promise. But I love so hard for everything I love, and I'm here to live for, then I'm not going out. I'm not going out, and I want more people who know where I'm coming from to know you can stand on that. It's okay, because it does keep people from crossing lines, and boundaries have to be set. And the more we do that, I know we'll see less and less of all of this stuff that comes out. There ain't gonna be nothing but the truth. So I highly advise that. Hopefully I kept it fun enough, engaging enough, and that anybody who's in the business understands where I'm coming from, respects where I'm coming from. And hey, hope to see you on set one day. And you know, and ladies, if you're single and you let that be known and you're feeling me, sure, we can meet up, offset, possibly have a wonderful date. Who knows what you're meant to be in my life? Because I will have screenshots of every damn thing you said to me. Y'all have a good one.